Welcome. See what's happening on the homestead this week.
So here I am in my garden again. It is a new week and a new time for things. I have so many things going on this week. We not only started school, but we also have a awesome tag along in our school. He's doing science and history with us, so I'm not doing all of his curriculum, but I am going ahead and having him tag along with science and history. My kids are currently learning about botany, which could there be a better time to learn about it than June and at a homestead? All the different pieces of a plant and the scientific study of plants. And we are also learning about early history. So Egyptians, creation, all the little pieces that go along with that. And we're doing different curriculum this year. So I'm learning it, the kids are learning it, and we'll see if we like it. We have homeschooled off and on for 7 years now. Josie is in the 6th grade, and she started with preschool with me, and then we dabbled a little bit in kindergarten, and she went to a charter school for kindergarten and 1st grade. But then in 2nd grade and 3rd grade, we went ahead and pulled her home and homeschooled Beth right along with her. And then last year, with how everything went with COVID and how there were so many restrictions and rules and everybody was learning from home anyway, I looked at the kids and I said, look, let's go ahead. You guys had 4th grade and 2nd grade in school. It was an amazing experience, but let's go ahead and pull back and go home, and we have been loving it ever since. So this year I have a preschooler, a kindergartner, a 4th grader, and a 6th grader, and then one tag along for science and history. Waiting for the tractors to go by. Just not as much fun to record when there's so much noise. Part of our schooling with our adorable tag along is going to be doing stuff on the homestead. So today we came out and went through every single garden bed and looked and felt and talked about the different plants that were in them. It was really fun. I had my 3 and 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old with me, and we just went through everything. And it was so good for me to see and touch and feel the growth that is in my garden. We have had rain finally. I think it was much needed. It has given me a renewed perspective on my garden, and we also have had really hot temperatures. So a couple things have popped up that I hadn't seen before, and things have grown and they're looking a little bit better. But the thing that we're fighting right now is weeds. And because it is so hot during the day, today was 82 and muggy and sunny all at once. And because of that, I was unable to just go and work in the garden in the afternoon like I normally would. So I am starting my routine of evening garden working. What that means is I rest in the afternoon. I specifically plan out my day so that I am not doing any strenuous work in the afternoon when it's hot. We are taking a traditional siesta. We are all resting. We are all taking that much needed breath of time when it is hot outside. And we are inside and either working on reading or playing games, or sometimes I'll just fold a load of laundry, maybe do a couple dishes, but it's not traditional work. What you would normally think, there's no hardcore plan with it. It's just relaxing work. It's very, very calming. It allows me to get a break so that I can come out in the garden in the evening and spend 45 minutes to an hour out here. The only negative is there are bugs. But my goal for today, and I did this on Sunday, I went through and I completely weeded and mulched one of my sections. So all of my melons have been weeded and mulched. Well, today it is time for the squash. So come along with me as I work on weeding and then mulching the squash. You'll see that I do very minimal weeding actually in the squash rows themselves, and then I take a hoe for the pathways between, and I just go to town on it. Now that I've done where the actual plants are, it's time to use this guy and just chunk away at these weeds. I actually leave them in the row, and I put the mulch right on top. They don't grow back because the mulch is so deep that it's not a big deal. It just completely breaks down with underneath the mulch and then becomes compost for my garden. One nice thing about being a gardener with a big garden like this, I don't have to have a gym membership. I work out every time I'm in my garden. It is tiring. So this hoe, I'm using it. I've hit a few rocks with it, and it really needs to have the blade sharpened. That's just something I personally need to do. I'm hoping when my husband comes home, he'll be able to say, oh yeah, that tool's right there. That way I don't have to find it. One of the things I've been looking at getting for my garden is what they call a wheeled hoe, and it has spades on the bottom and a wheel, so you can just roll it along instead of whacking at the weeds the whole time. And it's on my list of things to get, just because where I'm at, we have weeds. There will not ever not be weeds, so it's probably a good purchase for me. And until then, I'm gonna keep getting a really solid workout with my old hoe here. I've almost lost my voice.
It's leaving me. Forgive me if I sound terrible, but
I had shared about the wheeled hoe and saying I was looking into it, trying to figure out if that was something I should get for my garden. When I was looking it up, I thought, wait, I've seen one of these somewhere on my property. And I had never really looked into them before. Somebody just recommended them to me for my garden. Look what I found. Now Joseph says this is actually a cultivator, but it looks exactly the same as the wheeled hoe from Haas Tools. And so, I don't even know how old it is, but I'm going to clean it up and I'm going to see if I can maybe make something out of it.
I've got my earbud in, and hopefully you can hear me.
These are rusted on.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna work. We'll see. I've been scrubbing them, peroxide, WD-40, all the things to try and get them to loosen, and I'm having no luck. I may just have to cut them off and get new bolts, and if that is the case, that's gonna be a Joseph job, not a Kimberly job. So we're gonna I'm gonna try one more time, but we'll see how this goes. I always figure the worst case scenario is I spend 30 to 45 minutes on it, see what I can get done. If it doesn't work, I'm happy to let it be a relic and move on to purchasing a wheeled hoe at some point and just sharpening up the hose that I have. Yeah, sorry for my scratchy voice again. I was at a softball game last night and hollering and hooting at the kids, so Yeah, it'll get better eventually.
But anyway, we'll see what happens. I'll update you guys next week on this project. So my first load of mulch is actually spent rabbit bedding. My daughter had her rabbits about a month ago now, and they had all sorts of straw in their pen because it was cold, and a lot of it fell through. Some of their Timothy hay fell through, different things like that. And rabbit manure is one of those special manures that you can put directly on your garden. You don't have to wait any amount of time. So I'm gonna start with that, and then I'll put mulch on top of it just so we're not walking on any of that manure. So this does two things for my garden. One, it mulches it, and two, it also feeds it. As you can see, it was a super thin spread so that I have space to just put mulch right over the top. So I'm gonna go out to my mulch pile, grab a bunch of that, and be back to put that on. Well, there's that. Whew. We have a glorious sunset. What I really want to share with you tonight is the fact that you don't have to have a garden like this to do what I'm doing. I started 3 years ago with 2 zucchini plants, a patty pan squash, 3 green beans, a few cabbage, some lettuces, and 6 tomatoes. That was all I had. I didn't have a massive garden, but what I knew was that my family needed food and we needed to quit spending so much money on it. It's not hard to source local food here, but it's hard to source local, organically grown when you have a budget. This area right here was my first garden. I cleared out a ton of landscaping. There were bushes and small trees and all sorts of things that the previous owner to this house had loved, but I knew wasn't for me. I wanted to see my yard and I wanted to have a small garden. So I watched the sun and I learned where it shone the most in my small backyard area compared to the rest of my farm. Let's just put it that way. My backyard area is not small. It is actually really nice and good sized. I needed to learn where the sun was, how it went, and so I 3 years ago dug up this whole area. And like I said, it was full. It was completely full of landscaping. And I said, I need edible landscaping, not looking landscaping. Landscaping is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It has its place. It is wonderful. But I needed to feed my family. And I wanted to feed them organically the best that I could. So that's what started this small garden. Now, this small garden is in this glorious piece. These things make my heart so happy. Look how gorgeous they are. I've got 4 variety of peas in this garden this year, and I love them. They're wonderful. They bring me great joy when I come and walk out here in the morning and there's dew on them, and it's just totally picturesque. But there wasn't brick laid here. There wasn't formal boxes or anything when I started. It was just dirt. And I put some landscape fabric down because I had it and I didn't want to deal with weeds. And I put plants in it. And I planted. And we ate from those plants. And it worked. And I fed my family food that I had grown, knowing that that was better for them than what they were going to get from the grocery store. A packet of seeds is a whole lot cheaper than buying vegetables all summer long. Now, if you have the opportunity to just purchase the vegetables and you don't feel the need to grow, by all means do that. But I just want to encourage you, if you're questioning if you can grow things, you can. I don't care if you're in a teeny tiny apartment in the middle of a city or you have 10 acres in the country, you can grow. It will work. If you're in the city, start with a pot, put some tomatoes in it, and put it in a sunny spot. You'll get tomatoes. It's amazing how it works, but with a little bit of TLC, you can have homegrown, fresh tomatoes. If you want to do a big garden, do some research. It took me years to figure out exactly how I wanted to do it, what I wanted it to look like. And even still, I don't feel like I have a grip on exactly the perfect garden plan. The perfect garden plan is maybe going to happen eventually, but until then, we keep doing what is good for us. It doesn't have to be as much work as I put into it. Like I said, pots and putting plants in pots is fine. But be inspired. Grow your own food. Grow something for yourself or for your family that you are excited about. I'm going to tell you right now, that food tastes so good. So good. Well, it's getting kind of dark, so I'm going to wrap it up here. You have a little bit of homework to do. Go see if you're not currently growing a garden. See if there's a plant that you think you might like to grow. And let me know. Until next week.